On the Throttle is brought to you by Sport Bike Rent. Performance parts, professional advice.
So on a typical event weekend, there's a lot of steps that go into taking our operation. We have a home base, which is our shop. That's where we prepare equipment. And you kind of have to take half of the shop with you. So the way that we do that is the transporter pulls in all of the parts that may be necessary to use on a given motorcycle during a race weekend stay on the trailer, but the trailer becomes a part of the shop. So our parts storage, half of it remains on the truck. The only thing that we don't bring with us is the engine components. Engines are completely built at the shop. We have assembled engines here ready to go. So if we have an engine situation, we just replace them out. Every single part on our motorcycle is tracked for mileage, wear. Every single piece is identified. Some parts are replaced after 700 miles, some parts are replaced after 1,500 miles. So we have to coordinate at the shop, this engine has this identifier number, this is the build sheet on it, this part stayed in this for this long. I mean, it's a whole orchestrated plan. We have a wireless server on our truck that's an intranet, so any information that we have, whether it's from pit wall, from the shop, it all gets communicated real-time, instantaneously. Preparing for an event from a personnel standpoint, you have 25 people on average that we move going into a weekend. So travel planning starts 9 months, 10 months in advance. You start booking hotel rooms for your individuals. As the date gets closer, you start booking airline flights. The logistics of that is even quite interesting. You have 25 people. To maximize your cost, you narrow it down to 3 vehicles. So I've got people from California, people from Canada, people from Chicago, San Francisco, all these cities around the country going to one spot, and you have to time it so they all arrive in at least a 3-block window where all these people can meet up and get in a vehicle. So you kind of reverse plan the flight plan based on the vehicle plan. The trucks have DOT regulations, so they can drive 12 hours a day. So you have to backwards plan, how many miles is it? How long does it take to get to the racetrack? We have setup days when you get to the track. Who's going to be there at what time? Who sets up what piece of equipment? We have specialists as far as setup goes. There's a coordinated plan from the minute that we get onto the racetrack. We're going to have the first session, we're going to look at starts, we're going to look at suspension setting. We may not look at engine fuel map, because you have a 30-minute window. So we have a plan on a session-by-session basis before we get in here to know, all right, I'm going to test this hard tire in this session, I'm going to test the soft tire in this session. You don't have, you can't do that all in one session because the thing that you have limited is time. We have up to this weekend, we've had up to 80 guests. Because of the work is so intense, we want to make sure our people are well fed, especially the crew. We have breakfast, lunch, and dinner served here. We have frozen stuff that we actually carry in a dry ice situation with us. So we have ice cream trucks deliver ice cream to the racetrack. We serve, ice cream just as a nice thing so people feel welcome, they feel at home when they're in this environment. So we pre-plan deliveries, prior to the event for food even. We get a guest list and we figure out specifically which of these folks will be here during lunch, which of these folks will be here during breakfast, which of these folks will stay for dinner. We actually take orders. We have beef, chicken, and fish every dinner. So, I mean, it's an unbelievable coordinated effort, and we do it to the nth degree. Here at, when you're racing, you're looking for a 1/10 of a second. We find a 1/10 of a second every weekend in our food service. We find 1/10 of a second every weekend in our preparation. After an event weekend, you make a list. What worked well, what didn't work well, what could we do better? Ticket coordination. You've got will call. I've got 80 guests coming. Who needs what tickets under their name at will call? We've got a bike night that we go to. So you have to pre-plan events, moving riders, moving equipment, autograph signings, promotional events. You coordinate with the local community to energize the situation. And all of this has to be communicated so everybody knows what's happening. We have a 2-up program where we take media guests for rides so they can experience what it's like to be on the racetrack. Contact the media folks from the local community prior to the event. Who's going to go, you know? Have them here at this time. Those are just a snapshot of some of the things that we do. You know, people kind of sometimes don't realize, you know, when you see it here, it looks nice, and yeah, that's great to have, but oftentimes anything that you see that's done to the nth degree and done well comes with a lot of effort and a lot of pre-planning. And you can never plan enough, you can never communicate enough. And that is the difference between a successful organization and one that fails.